The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leadership Podcast. It is yet again another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, I hope you had a very wonderful weekend. Without taking much of your time, as usual, with me here in the studio, our in-house analyst, Chibuzo Kaide.
Thank you.
And Paul Agbo. And of course, together we'll be taking you on the big issue of the day, which is 2023 and the Gale of Defection. Of course, it was Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, who once said when politics is no longer a mission but a profession, politicians become more self-serving than public servants. So it seems in Nigeria at the moment, since the inception of the Fourth Republic, there has never been a series of defection of politicians from one political party to the other, the way we are witnessing now. And of course, not a few Nigerians are of the opinion that the recent gale of political defection, especially from the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, is worrisome and must be tamed if Nigeria is serious about deepening its nascent democracy. Never has there been a mass exodus of politicians from a political party to the governing party like what we are witnessing in the opposition PDP. In June this year, Zamfara governor Bello Metawale moved from the PDP to the APC. And this was after his counterparts in Cross River State and in Congo made a similar movement. And of course, we had federal lawmakers like Senator Peter Nwoboshi, the lawmaker representing Delta North Senatorial District, who also defected from the PDP to the APC. And of course, there are also media reports that the governor of Abia State, Okeze Ikpeazu, has concluded plans and may be defecting to the APC soon. And of course, just recently, last week, former aviation minister and a former presidential spokesman, Femi Fani-Kayode, defected from the PDP to the APC. He did so at the time his friend, Senator Shehu Sani, was leaving the PNP for the PDP. And of course, there had hitherto been a tsunami of defection, especially in the National Assembly and State Houses of Assembly from PDP to the ruling APC. Well, she goes on, the matter is worrisome. There are indications that in the days and months ahead, in the build-up to the 2023 general election, there are going to be more defection, mainly to the ruling APC. What is causing this mass movement from the opposition party?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me just say it is that season. It is that season where shame becomes a luxury for most of our politicians. As much as I want to say it was not unexpected that we would have this situation play out, because defections and cross-carpeting has become, and cheap cross-carpeting rather, has become almost synonymous with our political culture. Negative aspects, of our political culture as well. So, to that extent, I am not surprised that we are having this specter of defections play out right before our eyes for the 2023 elections. And I'm sure that there will be much more defections with the way things are going.
Yes, but
Because of the nature of our political parties. It's always easy to say, oh, it is because they lack political ideology. That is what, and that narrative has become almost what most politicians throw around. It has become like an excuse for them to do what they have to. Oh, well, this party does not have the ideology, this one does not have, so let me just move around and get our selfish interests actualized. But I think it is much more deeper than that. It's a reflection of the lack of political morality in the system. It is debatable, as it were, whether there should be morals in politics. But you can imagine that without morals, we'll be, we'll be having like anarchy, total anarchy. So to that extent, I do believe that because of the failing moral system within the political structure, we are experiencing what we have now. And it further shows that most of our politicians are out for their own selfish interest rather than the purpose for which politics
It's meant for.
and party, set up is meant for.
Well, you are right because part of the concern is that each political party has its own ideology, and of course, politicians themselves they are supposed to be part of a political movement, like a political party, because of their belief, their firm belief in the ideologies of that political party. And then now, for somebody who had been in a party which entails that the person believes in that party's ideology, beginning to move at the time it suits him, maybe for selfish interest, just like you rightly say, because 2023 is around the corner. And then one would have begun to see this mass movement. And you don't even need to tell even the ordinary man in the street that these defections are all part of alignment and realignment for the 2023 general election. That means our politicians tend to lack principles. Because if you can easily jump to another political party the way it suits you, without even considering the fact that you're in one party because you believe in that party's ideology, then politics now has become a cash and carry thing. Something you just do because it's self-serving and no more for
George,
for the idea of governance. But what do you think?
we're still growing in politics in Nigeria, George. We're not going to show our next generation how to manage politics in Nigeria. Uh, we turn politics to be like eating pepper soup in a joint. Uh, you go there, you feast on it, uh, you enjoy yourself, and go back home. George, politics these days in this country, it's all about what you can get for yourself. A great case is the FFK team that is all over the news. Uh, FFK was in PDP. He served the PDP government under Obasanjo, moved to APC, okay, came back to.
Well, Paul, just sorry to cut you short. Before we go, I think our guest is now available. Well, before we continue, at least we have a guest, the Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Mr. Diron Odeyemi. He's here with us in the studio. Mr. Odeyemi, you're welcome to Leadership Podcast.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm happy to be with you this evening. Good evening,
Oh,
Nigeria.
all right. We are talking about the gale of defection, especially from your political party, the PDP. And what we are trying to interrogate here is what is the problem? Is it that something is not right with the opposition party, the major opposition party in the country, that we're beginning to witness mass movement of its members to the governing or progressive Congress?
Thank you very much. Just like you have rightly observed, is there any ideology or any principle
Yeah.
in the kind of politics we play in Nigeria? That's the first question. Then you go on to ask, what are the reasons being given by these defectors that they are leaving PDP? Let's examine what Umar said. He said he left PDP because APC promised zone the presidential uh, to zone the presidential election to the southeast. Is that tenable? Is that an excuse? Is that reasonable? Look at the reason Matawale gave when he left. He said he wanted to assist the president in securing the nation, especially Zamfara State. How reasonable is this excuse? And since he has joined them, what has been the improvement? We ask again, what is the attraction in APC that made these people to say yes, they
Yeah.
are leaving PDP and join APC? There is nothing other than selfish interest. When you see, our politicians see political party as a ladder through which they can climb to political office. And they care not if after climbing to the top, they can destroy the ladder. Because that's just the myth. And you ask, we have asked ourselves as a political party, what really is going wrong? We couldn't find any reason because there is nothing that is happening in PDP that double or triple of it is not happening in APC. Which political party enjoys that graveyard peace? Which political party is experiencing tranquility as we are now? Of course, we understand this is the season because 2023 is very near. And people are aspiring, they have ambitions. And in politics, it's about maneuvering, it is about tricks here and there, it is about outwitting whoever is contesting against you. If that is what is playing on in PDP, are we not seeing double of it in APC? So we have asked ourselves and we see no reason other than the people who are defecting are very, very selfish. They are thinking politics as, about me, myself, and I. It's all about themselves, nothing more. It's not about the masses. It's not about the electorate. But we believe that if at all, let me take for instance the issue of Femi Fanikayode. I am from Osun State. Femi Fanikayode he claims to be from Ife. I can tell you categorically that he is not a registered member of PDP. He is not a voter in Osun State. And politics is local. If you don't have people who are following you as a leader, if you don't have electoral value in the party you claim to be a member, your living is like good riddance to bad rubbish. And Femi Fanikayode is only playing on the bad system or the bad political system that we operate in Nigeria, using his name, his past glory as a former minister to trade. It's as simple as that. Even in Abuja, where he resides, we very much doubt if he has a voter's card. For the past 3 years, Femi Fanikayode has not been assigned anything in PDP. That is to tell you that we know the kind of person he is. He's a trader. And we believe that APC has taken liability of PDP. Because as it is now, even in APC that he has joined, there has been crisis. Matawale that has joined APC, there is crisis. So everywhere they go, crisis follows them. And we are trying to organize ourselves in PDP. Very soon, by the end of October, we are going to have our national convention where a new chairman will emerge. And by the special grace of God, the party continues. Then we will strategize. The zoning arrangement is going on now. The reconciliation committee is working. And the convention committee are also planning. So that is to tell you that in PDP, we are not missing anybody. It's a political party that is too large and too big for anybody to claim ownership. We are
Well,
not a
Mr.
political party.
Yes, Mr. Deyemi, sorry to cut you short. I just want to get this
Yes.
clear again from you. You mean that you are not missing somebody like Femi Fanikayode, a former presidential spokesman, and of course, a man that has been very outspoken, speaking from the point of view of the opposition. Don't
Yes.
forget
Thank you
that
very much.
uh, uh, Don't forget that Fani Kayode had been in the forefront of criticizing the government of the day, and for him leaving the opposition to join the government of the day, you think that does not worry the PDP as a party?
Panika Ode will criticize anybody in as much as such person is ready to give him money. Obasanjo decided him very well. He knows Femi Panika Ode very well because he worked with him. And the way he described it is more than enough, to conclude the kind of person he is. Give Femi Panika Ode food, he will praise you. Starve him of food, he will blackmail you. What do you want me to say? And I've just pointed out, and I've just said it clearly, that for the past 3 years, did you see PDP assigning any job to Femi Panika Ode? He has been doing his trade. He's a trader. He will blackmail you to get something out of you. Somebody that, are we not in this Nigeria when Femi Panika Ode talk about a former minister as a terrorist? Was Femi Panika Ode not in the house of that same minister about a week ago? Has he not abused, criticized Buhari more than anybody in this country? When you don't have principle, when you don't have shame, and you continue with your trade, Nigeria knows who he is. And that is why I'm telling you that we don't miss him. We are not missing him. And that is why
Okay.
PDP as a party has not made any categorical statement about him, because doing such, you will be praising his effort. You will allow people who want to patronize him to see him as somebody that is worthy. So to
Okay,
us,
sir. The,
it's a bad riddance to bad rubbish. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
all right, Mr. Deyemi, there is this worry in the opposition PDP. Most of your members are worried that this mass exodus from the party to the governing All Progressive Congress could affect the party adversely in the 2023 general election. What is your
I,
view on this?
I will answer you in two ways. One, have you seen anybody that left PDP and has not come back? Do you want to talk of Bukola Saraki? Do you want to talk of the likes of Oyilola? Virtually everybody that left PDP always come back, because PDP has its own ideology, and that ideology is not being controlled by anybody. We are all joiners, we are all voters, we are all eligible to contest for a position. Not that somebody somewhere will dictate. You can see what is happening. That's number one. Number two, 24 hours in politics is too long a time. It is happening to us now, but you never know what is going to happen to APC tomorrow. By the time we organize ourselves, that is when their own problem will start, because already now they are even in problem. Is it the problem of the presidential that we want to talk, or even the people who are joining from APC, from PDP to APC? They are causing more crisis than they met it. Because people who are on ground before they came are complaining. You saw what Ojudu said. Ojudu is an advisor to the president on political matters. He said the day Femi Panika Ode joined them is his hardest day in politics. That is to tell you how unsatisfactory many people are in welcoming, in seeing all these people joining them. And I want to ask again, if you have accused PDP of corruption and you have individuals that you have checked into EFCC that are answering questions, why is it now that they even came to you that you cannot hold them again and put and ensure that you show to the world that you are actually fighting corruption? This same Femi Panika Ode, Amici said there was about 2 billion contracts that has no trace up till now, during when Femi Panika Ode was Minister of Aviation. And now that he has joined APC, I think a good president will have just asked EFCC or ask him to go and sort out his EFCC problem, or ask EFCC to continue with their case. Not that, except if they want us to believe that the only way they have been winning them to themselves is that if you join us, you become a saint. But if you don't join us, we will continue to prosecute you. That is bad politics. And that is why we see people crossing on daily basis. The people we have seen crossing have one baggage or the other that they are carrying about. It is people who look at Fayose. Fayose, after the expiration of his term in Ekiti, walked straight into EFCC. Today, they have not even to be able to arraign him anymore because they don't have any more evidence. He is not planning to leave PDP because he has no baggage. That's another way to look at it. But whichever way, God has a way of removing the bad eggs so that the people, the remaining people, will be the one to salvage Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odeyemi, for joining us on the big issue.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, sir. Well, Paul, you've heard what he said. Of course, you see from the way he was talking, you could see the passion and anger.
Yes.
Well, before we continue, let's just quickly take a short break, and we'll be back in a moment.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it now is my very special pleasure and privilege to ask His Royal Majesty, the Sultan of Sokoto, the chairman or chairperson of the leadership group, to come forward and join me and hold on to one bit of this cloth so that we can jointly unveil the bigger, better, deeper Le Vogue.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Well, welcome back to Leadership Podcast. And of course, we are still on the big issue. And of course, I will still appeal that a viewer out there, you contribute to this program by your comments. You send in your comments. And of course, we'll read them out for Nigerians and others out there to see what you think. And of course, just like I was talking, I think we have one of our viewers commenting there. We have Adebayo Amodu. Adebayo Amodu has this to say: but political parties in Nigeria are utterly bereft of ideology. So defections are not driven by ideological differences, but self-interest or self-interested calculations. See what he's saying. What Amodu is saying there is in tandem with what Odeyemi said.
This guy was he's a trader.
Yes, he said Fani Kayode is good riddance for bad rubbish from the PDP. What do you have to say about this?
Well, if anybody should know Fani Kayode, it will be, not necessarily because they are from the same geopolitical zone, but because they have, I think, had the opportunity of working in the past and all of that. But but the bigger concern beyond Fani and others who have done this thing, the focus still comes back to how parties are managed and run in Nigeria. Why has it been so difficult for people to belong to an association for a much more bigger interest than themselves? Why is it so difficult for people to marry their personal interests with the overall interests, of the generality of Nigerians? Because that is what the political party is supposed to be, a vehicle through which proper quality governance is provided. And so I think it is something that really has to be effective. But again, we have seen over time that people defect for different reasons. In fairness to some who have defected, we've seen those who were practically forced out of the party, pushed out of the party, if you will. We've also seen those
like Godwin Obaseki of Middle State, who was forced out of the Progressive Congress because of his tussle with perceived political godfather.
Then we've also seen people who, because they felt okay, we are losing out in this. We just have to look for somewhere to further our next better. So it's critical that a proper analogy is done as to what drives people to do that. But I still believe that whatever the case is, there is still no um, outright justification for one to dump his party and move to another party. I give you an instance. As we speak today, the Republican Party is going through a lot of mess, if I may use that expression. The Trump elements, the Donald Trump elements within the party, who are the core conservatives, are really squeezing the space for the liberals within that party. But as we speak, I don't think I've had anybody defect from the Republican Party.
To the Democratic Party.
I've not had any of
Or
that.
vice versa.
They have remained in their party because parties are not supposed to be. It's a conglomeration of interests. You have the liberals within the party, you have the conservatives within the party, you have the right to center and the left to center. They are all within that party. So it's and if you watch the quality of engagement within that party, it is more of ideas, the contest for ideas and policies, how they think the party should manage government. But in our case, all you hear is, zone to my place, don't zone to my place. I've been muzzled out of nothing really clear on ideas on how, for instance, the healthcare sector should be managed, or for how the education system should be properly taken care of. Nothing of such, or the border controls and all of that. Nothing of such. All we just hear are people campaigning for seats for elective positions, and that's all. Political party in Nigeria has been reduced to a mere tool for winning elections and nothing more.
Well, you're very right, Chibuzo. I think that's what you just said there is very apt, because when you talk of the United States, where you don't witness this kind of funny defection, it is because for instance, US is a country we copied our own system of government.
That was why I used that analogy.
Well, we have another of our viewer there commenting. We have Paul Onyenacho. Paul Onyenacho is saying Nigerian democracy of the ballot is always inconclusive, but the act of chopping money via overestimated contract is never. He's talking about the elections and the ballot is being inconclusive. It's related to the issue of these defections anyway, because it's all a part of the electoral process. That is actually not the right thing. You see, for most Nigerians are worried that this trend of defection, if left unchecked, Nigeria may slide into a one-party system, which will be inimical to deepening a nascent democracy. Don't you think so?
No, I don't think so.
You're sliding into
No.
the defections are just towards one direction.
No.
All the defections points to one place, the governing party.
How many people are defected to the governing party?
Of course, you see PDP.
They lost
All
three
this year
governments.
alone, 3 governments.
A few senators who are going to face
And
election.
we're even hearing that some are going to.
No, those people are just going there to butter their bread. They feel that they will be more comfortable, will be more protected under the canopy of the APC. That's to tell you, like what Chibuzo said, no ideology. If we say we are center left, center right, let us keep to it. And party management too is an issue in Nigeria. We are always faced with the crisis of leadership. You will not hear ANC in South Africa having leadership crisis because the Nigeria politics has been personalized, has been owned by a few individuals. Take for instance, now if a governor is not in the state capital, nothing happens. Commissioners don't come to work, AC don't come to work. Nobody comes to work except the core civil servants who are traditional public servants. Nobody comes because everything is grounded. His Excellency is not around. They take file to go and see some of them abroad. Those who have turned Abuja to their second capital, they bring file. So because of politics has been taken as a personal and owned by a few individuals, there's no ideology. Party supremacy no longer exists. We have discussed this thing in the past, that in South Africa, Political party asks the president to resign. But in Nigeria, can you do that? You can do that. People want to own political party. People want to own power. Look at what is happening between the governor of Kwara State and the minister in Abuja here. That I brought you. It was my effort that brought you to power. Who are you to grab the party structure? It's all about delivering what they promise to the people, derivable from the ideology of the party. Say we want border control. We don't want inflation rate to go beyond this. We favor local production instead of massive importation. Parties should have stands, but we don't discuss anything like that. It's all about what I hope to get. Some people cannot survive, just like fish cannot survive out of the water. People like FFK have tried to dive into the water, managed by the Progressive Congress. So he feels protected, he can breathe well.
Well, Paul, I
so
understand.
we need to correct this thing, and that is why look, I do not agree that with you that party going by this defection, Nigeria will turn to one. No.
Drifting into a one-party state.
No,
and of course, let's just see what Adebayo Amodu is telling us from there again. He said, George, Paul, Chibuzo, know that what all this shows is that Nigeria is a one-party state. The party is the political class. In theory, there are two main parties, APC and PDP. But in practice, there is absolutely no difference, no ideological divide between them. For all intents and purposes, the two parties are mere political vehicles that politicians use interchangeably to gain power.
For now, we don't have a choice. Do we have a choice?
But of course, you see what Adebayo has to say there.
We will continue to grow to the level where we have.
Yeah, I think I agree with Adebayo. Adebayo's position is very constructive, because most times people have actually said it. Both APC and PDP.
Until you remove money from our politics, then political parties will start working the way it works in other climes. But for as long as money politics continue to define our politics, the way we choose our leadership, the PDP and APC will still
remain. To come what that both APC and PDP are owned by money politics.
And you see Shehu Sani, who look at Senator Shehu Sani with due respect to him. He's one man that sounded like a man with principle. But see him today. He has moved to the PDP.
And of course, he
wants to survive.
He said he was coming to the PDP to meet his brother, Femi Fani-Kayode.
That is the always have sweet language.
Well, it is one thing for us to look at where we are now, which is very deplorable. But the question I keep asking myself is, what can be done to remedy the situation? There are a couple of there are a number of schools of thought on this matter. Some people believe we are going to evolve eventually into a much more better democratic experience. Parties are going to begin to, certain things that we see now cannot manifest sometime in the future because we would have evolved politically. It is a prospect. But however, it is a prospect that will require some working too, some doing. Because another problem we have within party systems, for which encourages this attitude of defections, is perhaps a lack of party loyalty. And what kills party loyalty most times is when people are not rewarded for services they have made to the party. It has become one of the major, and I can tell you today, I've spoken to a couple of PDP members, particularly those who didn't defect, who stuck all through when the party had issues. And some of them are quite uncomfortable that we were here when this party had all its crises. We stood by the party, we worked in the party, we ensured the party didn't go under. Funny enough, some people who left the party and put the party in the mess that it is today have returned, and it does appear as if they are coming to claim everything. So where's the party loyalty? Where's the reward for party loyalty? So these are the kind of sentiments that help to encourage this sense of, okay, what should I kill myself? In that sense, in quotes, for a party that will not recognize or reward whatever effort I have put in. So if these are certain fundamentals that ought to be looked at, if a party has to, ensure it keeps its rally its members and ensure that members don't just dump the party and move.
Well, finally, Chibuzo, most other Nigerians are of the opinion that PDP is the architect of its own misfortune because all this mass defection could have to do with the leadership crisis in the party. And the thinking is that a house divided cannot stand. If a party cannot put its act right, always having issues with its national chairman, imagine the number of chairmen the People's Democratic Party has turned out just within this democratic dispensation.
The party will say they even have an acting chairman.
Thank you very
The
much.
governing party, do they even have an acting chairman?
Don't you think this too could be the reason why
we will come back tomorrow
members
to
are
discuss, someday to discuss the APC issue. They've not seen anything yet. They are just starting. This is just the beginning. Because by the time they get to the national convention, issues will pop up.
Well,
I'll show you that.
Well, that is the much we can take for today's edition of The Big Issue. And of course, I must say a big thank you to our in-house analyst here. It was a very good one. And of course, I thank you, Avia, for taking our time to keep tab with us out there. It was a wonderful moment. Once again, I am your regular host, George Agba is my name. Join us tomorrow, same time, for another edition of The Big Issue. Have a nice day.